these matters, automatically everyone off to their corners, everyone screaming from their corners. The absolute reality here is that if you believe some people who've already been at 11 about, the totalitarian state, the authority, they want to carry on as if this was some sort of, gang killing, right? Like a scene from that movie American History X where somebody's put down.
They're calling it a murder.
Yeah, and you're going, now, obviously there is, split-second decisions made by people who are on the ground. That's not the president. That's not the governor. That's not the police chief. It's not us. So the idea that people automatically, that momentary decision, justified or otherwise, then instantly becomes proof about the Trump administration. And this is the problem for the left. They have been at 11 for 10 years. They have got nowhere else to go. And even if the wolf turns up, they've been crying wolf for too long that no one believes them.
I mean, no one on our side, the side of sanity.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, their lies are working because President Trump's numbers on immigration enforcement are going down precipitously. So what's happening now is that these leftists have dialed it up to 11. They lie. I mean, just lie through their teeth. Today, we played a clip of Whoopi Goldberg on The View saying they just shot a man. He just was holding his phone and a bottle of water, and they shot him 10 times.
They murdered a man. He is standing, he has his phone, and he has a bottle of water. And they shot him 10 times. What the? I don't know what you're investigating if you're not investigating the straight-up murder.
What a lie. They weren't bothering him. They wanted nothing to do with him. He was a known ICE agitator. His family had been worried about his ICE agitation, saying, don't get in between anything. And he did it not once, but twice, both times with 5 officers getting all over him. He had his little phone. He clearly wanted to get a viral video, and he got it at risk of his own life, and ultimately it cost him his life. I mean, that's what we call assumption of the risk in the law. He did it. As I said on my show, the reason I am not shot by ICE right now is because I sat in my studio this weekend and I minded my own business. I did not go out there in between a cop and the person who was antagonizing him, who was a fellow ICE agitator, like this guy did. That was very stupid. It was reckless. And look, these guys, they're like wannabe cops in a way. They hate law enforcement so much, but they want to be them. They have their little group on Signal where they coordinate where their target is. Oh, let's all get there. Let's tail them, get reinforcements. They harass them when they're trying to sleep at night. They encircle them when they're trying to conduct their operations. To arrest criminal child molesters, they get up into the face of ICE. They blow the whistles, which is really a form of torture, to just blow those whistles all day long. It's mind-numbing, and it's how are they supposed to know up from down when these whistles are constantly blowing in their ears? And then if they make a mistake, it's murderer, murderer. I think what actually happened here is what we call in the law imperfect defense of others, where you think you're defending your fellow cops and or yourself, but it's an imperfect defense because, in fact, there was no such deadly threat your way. If it's a sincere threat and a reasonable threat, you're off the hook. So the left doesn't want to hear about that because they just want to demonize ICE and Border Patrol and say they're evil because they want them out. And it's working. That's what's bothering me, is the press, of course, is not skeptical of that narrative at all. They shovel it down the throats of Americans sitting at home who are too lazy to check out the truth, and also very, very susceptible to you're a bad person if you think that this was anything other than a murder. Don't you have a heart? Aren't you a Christian? Can't you see this guy was on the ground, on his stomach, and they shot him in the back? You're an inhuman, as opposed to actually trying to put yourself in the shoes of the cop and understand they have a split second to make a decision on how they save the lives of those around them, never mind their own lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people have to go back to their high school days and the very early days where you're being introduced to legal concepts, right? About like, did something happen? Did you mean for it to happen? What was your intent about when something, like all of those things, let alone, again, obviously right up to as skilled and as knowledgeable as you are, still having very active discussions on as part of your show about the law, about what the law is here, about not just, the defence because they've got a badge and that means they're good guys, bad guys, but again, what was the term you used again about the imperfect defence of a colleague?
Imperfect defence of others. It's like if a guy comes into your house, Paul, and he's dressed like a robber, and he has a fake gun that looks real, and he just means to play a joke on you. It's a friend. He's just trying to scare you and thinks it would be really funny, and he's going to get it on video. But you don't recognize him because he's disguised, and you don't see that that's a fake gun, and you shoot this man. Are you guilty of murder? No. That's also an imperfect self-defense claim. You weren't actually in any danger, but you mistakenly, but reasonably thought that you were. It's not that far afield from that. And the law is going to look at whether a reasonable cop in these same circumstances would have feared for his own or others' bodily safety. And they're going to find that he did. That's how this is going to come out, as long as it's not in front of some crazy ass Minnesota jury that it just wants to punish ICE. And I can't rule that out because I don't know. Actually, unlike the shooting of Renee Good, where the feds took control of it and said, that's it, we're not giving control of this investigation to Minnesota. This one I'm not sure on. Originally, the Trump administration said, same, we're taking control of it. But Minnesota seems determined to do its own investigation. And I don't know, Paul. I think Minnesota, if they could get their hands on this officer, they would fry his ass. I really think they'd be determined to charge him with murder, right? The full Chauvin. They put him in front of a Minneapolis jury. They wouldn't move it outside of Minneapolis. The judges, I happen to know, just based on my own reporting, that we're suffering like a revolt, like an intifada of judges right now on the bench who don't want to bring charges against any of the bad guys who invaded that church, but would love to oversee a trial against an ICE officer. So it's a powder keg, and Trump needs to do his level best to protect these officers. We're also worried because even if the feds do keep control of this for the next 3 years while Trump's president, when he leaves office, if a Democrat comes in, a Democrat could say, okay, we're not going to prosecute him. Minnesota, you go ahead. And then if Minnesota went ahead and prosecuted this person, of course they'd wind up with a guilty plea, and no Democrat would pardon them or could pardon them from state charges. So all these ICE officers really have a lot on the line right now, and there's only so much even President Trump could protect them.
Forget the reports about her show. Watch her show. Megyn Kelly, she's on YouTube, Sirius XM, get the podcast, all the rest of it right. I'm telling you, it's compulsory stuff because there's a whole bunch of people who want to tell you very different versions of things. This lady will tell it to you straight, and we love her. Thank you for joining us each and every week, mate. Lovely to see you. We'll see you again next week. Love you right back. See you, gorgeous. That's fascinating. That the judges are going, no, I'm not even going to take these cases about the shitbags. And Paul, this is so unusual for judges to say, like, we're not even going to sign off on your arrest warrant. Like, they may say this is a shitty case, but like, it's such a low bar to get the arrest warrant. Like, that's what the criminal justice system is for, to let the charges play out. And if it's a shitty case, a defense lawyer will step in and move to dismiss the indictment. Like, there's a tool for that. Like, it's just a low bar to see if basically we have the just probable cause, like a bare minimum to say, okay, you get your arrest warrant. And there's not even a defense attorney in there to make an argument that it doesn't exist. So to have judge after judge after judge tell the Department of Justice that they can't bring the charges, not only against Don Lemon, which, by the way, he should absolutely be charged. 100. No, we're not immune from being charged 100. Just because we're journalists. If we invade a sacred space that we're not allowed to go with a mob, just saying, oh, well, we were covering it. Well, you're not allowed. No, you weren't. On my show the other day, I said, we went to the Vatican a couple of years ago as a family. There were parts we could see and there were parts we couldn't. Like, if the mob just burst into like the papal vestige room and like harass the Pope, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna videotape this and I'm gonna interview people. Would I be immune from charges? Hell no. No, I would not. The law applies to us, same as it applies to them. And in any event, it's not just Don Lemon. It's other protesters who were there scaring people, who weren't the ringleaders, who these judges are saying, no, we're not going to sign the warrant for their arrest. It's truly extraordinary. So poor, Pam Bondi and Harmeet Dillon, they have their hands full in trying to get justice for anybody in Minnesota.